3, 2, 1.
And there I am. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in, showing up, all those good things. Just a gentle reminder, if you are here, don't forget those share buttons, like buttons, and all those good things. Just helps us, makes it easier for people to find us. And, I am still trying to reach that subscription point where I can name the channel. So please, if you would, go ahead and do that. I would appreciate it. I want to do something really kind of quick today, but a lot of information, but I hope, I don't make you think you're drinking out of a fire hose here. I'm going to say this, and it might be confusing for some people, but from the time we are conceived, we begin the process of aging. And you're thinking, wait a minute. That's kind of hard to believe. Well, it is, but it's true. From our conception, the child begins to grow in utero, and it continues, hopefully becoming born as a healthy human being. And from the very, we often think about, your birthday, when you start getting, grow up and get older. But from conception, we begin to age. And most of us at a young age are taught to respect our elders, right? And I'm going to say this. Aging, you can't opt out of it. It's mandatory. If you're alive, you're aging. You have no choice in the matter. It's just something that we have to do, right? It's just something that we have to do. And as we go through that, we get older and we're taught things, like respect your elders, take care of people, all that kind of thing. And I know that some of you who are watching or listening, you might be thinking, well, at my age, I'm kind of running out of elders to respect. And that is because as we age, as we get older, well, people have a tendency to die, right? It's something that we all have to face at some point in time. But now, when you think about, well, I'm the elder, that just doesn't seem natural to some people, right? It's like there's always going to be somebody around older than me, and that may be true. But at the same time, you're getting older, they're getting older, and there are people younger than you as well. And I'm not talking about this today because I'm getting older, but I have seen a decline in how a lot of people are not respecting their elders. And that's partially because they don't respect anyone, including themselves. Now, I could go into the whole love your neighbor here, right? But, it should be obvious if you love someone, you're going to respect them. And it's kind of hard to love someone else when you don't love yourself. They have no desire for self-preservation. They have no desire for life. They have no desire for anything, really. They just want what they want. It's going to give them immediate gratification. Now, I can lay the blame, I think, in three major places. And the first place is our entertainment industry. They produce what should be considered entertainment, right? But entertainment shows, books and movies, television shows, and it shows a lack of respect in a lot of those areas. Not all of them, but many of them. They'll say, well, art imitates life. The problem is that has changed to life imitating art. People watch these things, they read these things, and they say, oh, it's perfectly acceptable not to show respect. I don't think so. The second place I will lay blame is social media. I could include that with entertainment because it's basically entertainment. Let's face it. It's entertainment. But it's different because you get to interact with people. And it's easy not to show someone the respect they deserve when you're just an anonymous name on a post, right? Or a thread or whatever they call those things now. You think I can say or write whatever I want because there's no repercussion, there's no consequences, but there are consequences. One is a lack of respect, and it carries over into the way that you deal with the live people around you, the people you can actually reach out and physically touch, not just someone on the other side of a web page. And that lack of respect carries over to young and old alike. You're dealing with people. You're not dealing with an anonymous person on the other end of a web page. The third reason you won't like, the third place I can lay the blame, is in some of our worship communities. And I have personally witnessed this. You see the groups standing by themselves and they're gossiping about this person or that person. They speak down about the single mothers who are having trouble with their kids. They speak down about the people who aren't dressed just right. In other words, these worship communities that should be showing the love and respect and compassion are actually doing just the opposite. They're showing people it's okay to gossip. It's okay to talk down. It's okay. And it's not okay. It's just not okay. When you see these things happening, is it any wonder why there is so little respect for our elders today? We fail to respect ourselves. We fail to respect the people within our own contemporary age group. And that carries over into a lack of respect for our elders. And I don't want you to think from what I'm saying that our elders are always going to be right. They're not always going to be right. It's just not going to happen. They can be just as wrong in their age as we can in our youth. Okay? But it is how we approach that. It's how we deal with that. And it's how we deal with each other. There's actually a very good example in Job about this. Found in chapter 32 is the lesson of Elihu, who is a younger person. And he's witnessed to Job and Job's friends who are speaking. And I'm going to begin in verse 4. Forgive me for looking off to the side here, but that's where my notes are. And it begins, now Elihu had waited to speak to Job because the others were older than he. But when he saw that the three men had no further reply, his anger was kindled. So Elihu, son of Barachel, the Buzite, declared, I'm young in years while you are old. That's why I was timid and afraid to tell you what I know. You see, he waited. He waited. Even though he recognized a problem, he waited. He had the respect for his elders. He wasn't just going to jump in and interrupt with his new ideas. And if you're listening to the audio only, that new ideas is in air quotes, right? So what did he say? What did he have to say? Verse 7, I thought that age should speak, and many years should teach wisdom. But there's a spirit in a man, the breath of the Almighty, that gives him understanding. It's not only the old who are wise, the elderly who understand justice. Therefore I say, listen to me, and I will declare what I know. Indeed, I waited while you spoke. I listened to your reasoning as you searched for words. I paid you full attention. But no one proved Job wrong. Not one of you rebutted his arguments. So do not claim we found wisdom. Let God, not man, refute him. If you want to know more about that, look up Job, beginning in probably about chapter 30 through 33 or 34. It's well worth the read just to get that lesson of how to respect your elders when they might not be saying the correct things, right? So, when I was young, that was a long time ago too. When I was young, I was taught, when an older person comes in the room, you stand up and offer them your seat because you're usually sitting in the best seat in the house, right? That wasn't acceptable in my house, the house I grew up in. Someone older comes in, you let them have the most comfortable chair, the best seat in the house. That was passed along to our children, our grandchildren, and I'm not saying that they don't need to be reminded every once in a while, girls. Right? Just saying, they need to be reminded every once in a while. But hopefully as they grow, it will become habit, right? Living in the South where we live, good manners and respect for each other is expected, right? It just happens. That's the culture here. And it's especially true for our elders. It's not uncommon, not unusual to see a younger person holding a door for an older person. It's not uncommon to see a younger person, allowing an older person to get ahead of them in a line or to go first. It's just something that's done here. We do it all the time. But I don't see that in some of the other places that we've lived, some of the places we've visited. And it's simple gestures. Simple gestures should be almost habit, but it isn't. Putting other people, especially our older people, ahead of ourselves, when we are around them, letting them go first, giving them the respect. I'm not going to say the respect they're due. Some of the older people, quite honestly, may not be due that respect for the things they've done, but they deserve that amount of respect just because they've lived as long as they have. Maybe they've had some problems. Maybe they were never taught to respect. Maybe they don't have any respect for themselves. But displaying that respect, showing it. Actions speak louder than words, don't they? When we put our needs ahead of others, we show that love, compassion, and respect that we should want for ourselves. So, if you haven't been showing that respect that you want, ask yourself why. Ask yourself why. Have you ever wondered, I'm not getting the respect I think I deserve, but am I showing others the respect I think they deserve? Ask yourself why. So, something to think about until next time. And another gentle reminder, if you're interested in the books, they are available at authorjerrymitchell.com. And I appreciate each and every one of you who has purchased one. It goes a long way to helping me and helping us stay where we are, buying the equipment we need to get these out. So I appreciate it. All of these, something to think about until next time. And until next time, I wish you many, many blessings, everyone.